Welcome back to Crime Between Us. I'm Adam.
And I'm Sandra. Before we really dive into the new episode, I really wanted to say thank you. I mean, the response to episode 2, the one on Tamla Horsford, it just kind of blew us away. You all, you really poured in messages and thoughts, and it really matters, seriously.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's heavy stuff, but we did promise, right? We promised we'd shine a light on stories that, just refuse to stay silent. And tonight, oh man, this one, it's got chills.
Oh, Adam, proper chills. This is definitely not probably an accident narrative, This is a string of disappearances, found bodies, a predator still at large. And it's all happening under the radar. It's just...
Yeah. So we're actually calling this episode Echoes in the Dark, The Hunting of a Predator.
And Adam, I got to tell you, this one actually gave me nightmares. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but yeah.
So imagine this. You're picturing, a really quiet rural county, right? It's pretty sparsely populated. Roads that barely even see headlights once it gets dark. You've got neighborly waves by day, maybe, but, absolutely nothing by night. Just quiet.
And that stillness, Adam, it's that kind of calm that just feels inherently safe, right? Oh, nothing bad could ever happen here. But it really wasn't. Because between 2017 and 2020, in this very place, 8 women, they vanished, just gone, completely gone.
Yeah, and what's wild is there were no witnesses, no obvious signs of abduction, nothing. And then the bodies just start appearing, in lakes or along driveways, in fields, just, they were just dumped like trash. It's pretty disturbing.
And, you're talking about mismatched shoes, right? Torn clothes, telltale bruises. This is stuff that just screams foul play. It really does. But the local police, they just labeled them undetermined. Can you believe that? Undetermined.
It's definitely the kind of quiet that just, it just gets under your skin. You think it's peaceful, but then you realize what's happening beneath the surface. And it's unsettling.
So let's talk about these women, right? These aren't just statistics. These are people. The first one we're going to talk about is Lisa Turner. She was 29 years old, and she was found in a roadside ditch back in May of 2017. And, she had long blonde hair and there were bruises on her arms. Just awful.
Yeah. And what's really chilling is that her phone, it went offline just 2 hours before she was last seen. So, you can't help but wonder what happened in those 2 hours. It's a really narrow window.
Right. And then October 2017, we have Jasmine Wells. She was only 24, and she was found lifeless in a shallow pond. And she had defensive wounds, Adam. She clearly fought back.
Yeah, and I think it's important to mention, she had a toddler, a 2-year-old, and everyone who knew her said she was a fighter. So for her to end up like that, it screams that something was seriously wrong. She wouldn't have gone down without a fight.
Absolutely. And then there's Ella Nguyen. She was 33, and her body was found behind a barn, just dumped again. No phone with her, no shoes, she was just left there. It's just horrifying to think about.
Yeah. And what really ties all of this together, Sandra, is that it's 8 women. All of them, same county, same pattern. It's not a coincidence. Not at all.
And what's really striking about all of them, when you look at it, is that they were all, roughly in the same age range, late 20s to early 40s. And they were all found within 48 hours. It's just so fast. And every single one had signs of restraint, they hadn't just died.
Yeah, exactly. And, beyond that, there was this recurring detail that just kept popping up. This green truck, specifically a Chevy. It was seen near 2 of the scenes. It's not just a random vehicle.
Right. And then their phones, Adam, their phones were all pinging near the same asterisk cell tower. And it was always between 2 and 4 a.m. every single time. It's just, that's not accidental, is it?
No, it's really not. It points to someone who was definitely watching, someone who was, stalking them. This wasn't just a random act of violence. It was calculated.
And, what's really maddening about all of this, Adam, is the response from law enforcement. Or, well, the lack asterisk of response, I should say.
Yeah, it's truly perplexing. I mean, you have all these clear patterns, these disturbing similarities, and yet we heard from a detective, he said they were explicitly told to stop digging. Just no foul play. Case closed. Like that.
It's just infuriating, isn't it? No foul play. How can you look at bodies dumped like trash with defensive wounds and signs of restraint and just say, oh, nothing to see here? One sheriff actually just dismissed it all as, coincidence. And then he just walked away like it was that simple.
I just can't wrap my head around it. These families, they were pushing, right? They were begging for answers, for someone to just look at what was happening. And all they got was this silence, just an absolute brick wall.
And then the FBI. You'd think, okay, if local authorities aren't acting, maybe the federal level steps in, right? But no, they declined to take the case, said there was no federal interest. No federal interest. 8 women, same county, same asterisk, modus operandi asterisk. That's not interest worthy.
It's just mind-boggling. It leaves you wondering, what was going on, why the reluctance. Was it incompetence or something more deliberate? Because the result was the same. These families were left completely heartbroken, completely in the dark, with no justice. And the predator, whoever it was still out there.
It's just such a frustrating situation, Adam. All that silence, all that dismissal. But, thankfully, not asterisk everyone asterisk, just let it go. There was one person who just wouldn't quit.
This is where it gets really, really interesting, actually. This is where we talk about Mark Davis. He was a veteran investigator, someone who, saw what was happening and just couldn't accept the official narrative. He wouldn't let go of it.
No, he absolutely didn't. Despite all the official pressure, all the higher-ups basically saying, move on, nothing to see here, Mark Davis, he kept digging. He was, relentlessly pursuing leads. Like he tracked phone logs, which, that's crucial data, right? And rental histories, trying to see if there were any patterns, any connections that others were just ignoring.
Yeah, and he was really good at it too. He was looking for those subtle links, those threads that could tie everything together. Even if the higher-ups didn't want them tied together, he was piecing together the movements, the potential habits of, whoever this predator was. He was just so dedicated to uncovering the truth.
And what happened to him because of that dedication, Adam, is just, it's telling, isn't it? Because he was transferred, just, asterisk, poof, asterisk, moved out of his position. And then it got worse. He was demoted. Basically, they tried to sideline him, make him irrelevant.
Yeah, it's pretty clear, right? They were trying to send a message, stop looking, stop digging. And it wasn't just like professional retaliation either. He was, there were threats involved too, like direct personal threats, trying to intimidate him into dropping it.
It's like someone really, really wanted this to stay quiet. And anyone who threatened that quiet, anyone who tried to shine a light on it, they were going to pay a price. And Mark Davis, he definitely paid one for just trying to do his job, for just trying to find answers for these families.
But the thing is, he did all of that. He gathered all that evidence. He kept pushing, even with the threat. And if that information, if what he collected ever gets verified, it could absolutely blow this whole thing wide open. It really could.
Yeah, he's still watching, actually, quietly.
Voices of the Missing. What an incredibly powerful name for this grassroots group that really emerged, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was local women actually who, they had seen what was happening. They'd seen the lack of official response and they were tired of it. So they started organizing.
Yeah, and they didn't just passively organize, right? They were out there. They were holding vigils, which, brings people together, brings attention to the cases.
Right. And they weren't just mournful vigils either. These were calls to action. They were actively gathering tips because, if the police aren't going to look, maybe someone in the community saw something. They also started building timelines actually, which is incredible because they were trying to piece together every last detail themselves.
Because, they couldn't trust the official narratives, right? So they were doing the work that frankly should have been done by law enforcement. And they were even raising money too, weren't they? To support these efforts to help the families.
They absolutely were. It was an all-encompassing effort from the community. They were determined. And their whole message, their whole mantra really was, this was no accident.
And that's what's so critical, isn't it? because that's what the authorities wanted everyone to believe. But the community, the families, the voices of the missing, they knew better. They knew something far more sinister was at play.
And, Adam, it's really easy to get caught up in all the details, the timeline, the patterns. But when it really comes down to it, we still don't know who this predator is. We don't have a name.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, right? Someone is out there, someone did this. And what we do know, what's glaringly obvious, is that the system, it just failed completely.
It absolutely failed. I mean, 8 women, right? 8 women are gone. And 8 families are still, just waiting for answers, waiting for any kind of closure.
They are. And it's just this open wound for them and for the community too, I think. This story, it matters so much. Their names matter. They're not just statistics,
No, not at all. And that's why we're here, why we're doing this, because we're not just, we're not just telling stories to tell them. We're really, really asking you, our listeners, to look closer, to demand answers. So please, if you can check out the show notes for this episode, there's a lot more information there. And please share this, talk about it, speak up, and remember these women.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you haven't yet subscribed to Crime Between Us, leave us a review. It really, really helps. And please just stay aware out there. Always.
Always. And until next week, everyone, stay curious, stay safe, and please stay with us.